What up, yo? Flash Speaks back for another one. Listen, gotta talk about the Philadelphia 76ers, man. Gotta talk about these guys, man. Last night they had an impressive 10-point victory over the Toronto Raptors. Nice little win. I mean, we the favorites going into that, of course. But what was more impressive was the victory over the Minnesota Timberwolves. You're talking about the team that has the best record in the West. A lot of season left. I don't know where the Timberwolves will end up, but the Timberwolves, to me, are a legit team. You're talking about the number one defensive team in the league in terms of team scoring. I still believe the Celtics are the best defense overall in the league because the difference between the Celtics and the Timberwolves are amazing defensively at home. They're only allowing their opponents to complete 45% of their shots. To make 45%, that's great, right? But what happens is when they go on the road, they're allowing slightly over 50%, right? That's the difference. Whereas Boston is a little bit higher. Boston is around allowing about 47% at home. And then on the road, they're allowing still around 48%, right? So that's why the defense is really better, even though overall, because they average it out, they still got Minnesota 1 and Boston 2. But anyway, man, back to the Sixers. Nick Nurse has these guys with a really good team, man. Overall record got us third in the East, at 20-8, with a lot of season to go. Stuff starting to come together. In the beginning of the season, the Sixers, of course, had the number one record in the East. There was a little stumble there where we ran into I think it was 5 games in 8 days or something like that, and you threw in there a couple games against Boston, and then there was a couple games we shouldn't have lost, like a Cleveland game, I recall, stuff like that. And then I think Embiid and Maxey missed a couple games, if I remember. Whatever the case may be. Now is now. And I'm sitting at the third in the East, but I want to look at a couple of things, man. Nick Nurse has got this team right now as a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense. Or top 5 offense, top 10 defense, coming in at 6, right? So almost top 5, just outside. That's the makings of a team, that could go all the way. Offensively right now, the Sixers are number 1 in offensive efficiency, okay? In total points scored, we're coming 4th, right? Which is very respectable. But in offensive efficiency, which is actually more important, really, when you get down to it, the most offensively efficient team in the league, which I didn't expect to see that. Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey playing completely out of their minds, man, right now. Completely out of their minds. Joel Embiid is averaging 35 points a game on stellar efficiency, over 50%. Basketball right now is just easy to him. Easy. Looks like he's a better rebounder than me, though the numbers are similar to how they typically are. I'm seeing more fundamentals, and I'm seeing a guy that's not missing a lot of the fundamentals, not forgetting to box out. He has using good technique, which tells me, that Nick Nurse or the coaching staff are emphasizing some of these things. Good. I see a team that's crashing to the boards. These are things we didn't see last season or really under the Doc era at all. Doc just kept saying we need to get a rebounder. Here, maybe we do have better rebounders. Oubre is crashing, but Tobias looks like a better rebounder to me. Even Maxey really looks like a better rebounder to me. I'm just judging by the way they're playing with the fundamentals, man. The crashing and the boxing out. And not forgetting to do so regularly. Tyrese Maxey, man, is probably the story of the year, of the season. He's kind of a lot the same guy in terms of scoring. He's like able to get to the rim whenever he want. He's a top flight elite finisher around the basket. He's still, though he's asked to do more, he's still keeping a similar level of efficiency. His 3-point shot is still 40%. You know, though there's been a couple of games where he wasn't as efficient, but overall, the averages is what tells you pretty much what you expect on a nightly basis. He's at 40%, up to scoring about 7 points. Nothing more you can ask for. He absolutely should be making an all-star team this year. I believe his play warrants a starter, but I don't expect that. They're probably, because it's his first all-star game, all-star appearance, assuming he makes it, he'll probably be a reserve. You got to look at guys like Tyrese Halliburton, who they might be putting in first, even though his team is eighth in the league. Now, don't get me wrong, the Indiana Pacers have a great offense in terms of scoring output, but their defense is just awful. So they'll probably struggle to even get into the playoffs because of that. But we'll see how that affects all-star voting. Sometimes, man, these all-star things are just fanboys just voting and stuff like that, and coaches having their favorites and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see where that goes. And then with the All-Star game, I actually wish they would go back to East and West format. I don't like this thing where you pick a captain and they're picking teams, and I think that's just trash. Go back to the traditional East versus West, because then you have more bragging rights. You got something to play for. East wants to say they're better than the West and vice versa. You know what I mean? I think that's more of a motivator for players than I'm playing for LeBron James or I'm playing for Giannis. Like, who cares, man? The addition of Kelly Oubre, great addition. I love what he brings. He brings an athleticism and wing defense that we just haven't seen to go along with Tobias Harris, who has been stepping up his defense the last couple of years. He doesn't get a lot of credit for it, but he really has been stepping up his defense. His defensive efficiency, his defensive rating is good. He's usually around 106, something like that, which is pretty good. What am I missing here? Oh yeah, the bench, man. This is the best bench that I've seen. And I'm going to just keep it real with y'all. As far as a complete team, this right here is the best Philadelphia 76ers team in terms of a complete team that I've seen since the 80s. Now, I know it might sound crazy, but since the 80s. I know we could bring up all these other teams during the Embiid era. This is by far the best team in the Embiid era. Even better than the Jimmy Butler team, which is probably the best one so far in this era. I think it's even better than that. Because that team, you still had Ben Simmons, which was a liability. Though Ben brought you a lot with defense, he brought you a lot with physicality when he wanted to. Brought you some rebounds, but by and large, to defend that team, at the end of the day, was still too simple. Lay off of Ben Simmons, collapse on Embiid. You would just hope that Butler, will go off. So this team is much more difficult to stop. I saw them against Minnesota, man, that game. Minnesota was trying everything, man. They're trying to send extra guys to Embiid. Maxey would kill you. They tried to zone, and they had an answer for the zone. They would just dump it into Tobias on the for a post up. They would dump it in Tobias and dump it into Oubre. It was like Nick Nurse got these boys balling, man, and I'm impressed with that. The bench, like I said, best bench we've ever had since easily. In the Joel Embiid era, better bench than in the Iverson era. This team is just purely better than the team in the Iverson era, without a doubt. No one's arguing anyone's better than Iverson, This is a team that has it to go all the way. Now, the dominant opinion, it appears to me, is that people believe the Sixers need to make one more move. I get it, because what you're looking at is the small backcourt that we have with Maxey, who's about 6'2". I think he's about 6'3" now. Really, he doesn't still look 6'2" to me. And it's really DeAnthony Melton. It's probably the guy that people are looking at now. DeAnthony Melton is actually playing well. I know he's scoring. He's in double-digit scoring, shooting over 40% from the three or close to it. I know he was struggling in the beginning of the season, but then he started going on a high streak, so he should be close to 40%. He gives you great defense, but I get it. What happens is there are times when he's not consistent on scoring, and then also he runs into certain guys that it's not his fault, but he just is not going to be able to contain. How consistently could he contain a Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum is the question. How consistently can he contain some of those bigger guards? I like him to stick, like, say, the Dame Lillards and those types of guys. I like him there. But that's probably the chink in the armor. So I think the Sixers are looking. I've heard names like a Zach LaVine out there. I've heard OG Anunoby, and I've heard of like an Alex Caruso. Now, my opinion on this is I say no to LaVine. Though LaVine may be the best player out of them. No, I'm looking at fit. And I'm going to get to also the way the team plays right now and why it just wouldn't work the way they're playing. But I say no to LaVine. Just hold the thought. Alex Caruso, I wouldn't have a problem with Alex Caruso because I think he's a guy that doesn't have to get his points. He'll play his role, and he's going to give you defense, elite defense. I wouldn't have a problem with Alex Caruso. I think that would be okay. But the guy I really would target if I'm going to make a move out of those three is OG Anunoby from Toronto. OG Anunoby is a guy, you're talking about 6'7", great defensive player, guy that can get his own shot. He's not the best three-point shooter in the world, but that isn't everything to me. He's still a guy who can make it. I mean, if you leave him open, he'll hurt you. He can also get to the rim, and so on. And he also knows Nick Nurse's offense. So you're talking about a guy you can just plug and play immediately and get right to work. So I like the idea of OG Anunoby out of those three. I think if you go with that team, you really probably the favorites. Now, what I don't want to do, I don't want to give up a lot of bench players for him. So, but I think OG Anunoby, man, he should be able to go for first, first and second or something like that. And, if I'm going to give him a player, I would offer probably a KJ Martin, maybe, OG Anunoby. I mean, maybe DeAnthony Melton if they demand it. I don't ideally want to give up DeAnthony Melton. But, you figure the older guys, I don't want to give up a Rocco. I don't want to give up Marcus Morris. I don't want to give up Nicholas Batum or any of those guys. And I don't think Toronto would want any of them because they're older guys who, really are guys that just want to latch onto a team to see if they can get a championship, man, and make some money. Marcus Morris is a guy I definitely don't want to get rid of, and that's more of a sentimental thing. I always wanted one of the Morris twins on the team, if not both of them. Philly born and bred guys, I know they're going to give their all to play here. I think this is too late, man, that we actually picked up a Morris brother, man. The Morris guy's the right guy to have on the team with Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid, he sometimes gets into stuff with teams, and you want a guy like Marcus Morris there to kind of shadow what's going on because he has a reputation around the league, that he'll put hands on you. I just like having as many of those guys as possible. So if we can get OG or Alex Caruso would be my second choice. As long as we're not giving up too much, I'm with it. Zach LaVine, I'm not. I believe with Zach LaVine, number one, you're going to have to give up too much. I think they're going to want like 2 number 1 picks, possibly not 3. You're going to have to give up like Kelly Oubre or Tobias Harris. So, and for me on the floor, it just, I'm not willing. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go up. I don't want to gut the team for Zach LaVine when you're talking about you have a team that's actually very close. And then Zach LaVine, how does he fit on the team right now? The team right now is pretty much Embiid centric and Maxey centric. Their two-man game is pretty much the basis of the offense right now. I really, in my heart of hearts, believe they should start moving away from that a little bit. Not move away from them being the best, but the one issue I do have with the offense is the assists, the number of assists per game is a problem is my only critique of the whole team, period. And it's that the Philadelphia 76ers average 26.3 assists per game, which isn't horrible. It puts us at 13th, but a lot of that came as a result of last night's phenomenal game where we had 34 assists, right? So that kind of skews the averages. Just before this game, we were sitting at 17th in assists. And you always want team assists to be higher. All right, that's one thing about basketball. You always want team assists to be good. They indicate how good of an offense you have. It's almost as well an indicator as points per game. Like, for example, Indiana has the number one offense in the league in terms of points scored. They're also number one in assists at 30.6 assists per game. Number two is Denver Nuggets, who are just right under 30 assists per game. Denver is a team we know is an elite offense, and we know they share the ball. Not only does Jokic get almost 10 a night, but then you got other players. They just have a system, man. And those systems are always the best ways to build an offense. That you have a system, and the teams with the best systems is usually indicated by the assists per game. What I don't want the Sixers to be is too much of an ISO team or just a two-man team with Embiid and Maxey. Because what happens is when you're in the playoffs and you run into a situation where Embiid is off or Maxey is off, you make it tougher to score, and then we as fans are like, why don't somebody else step up? What's Tobias step up and this and that? Well, Tobias isn't stepping up because Tobias isn't customarily made a part of the offense. So now when you're asking him to out of nowhere just because one other guy's struggling or one other guy's out to now step up, he's not used to doing that. So now he's in an awkward situation, and we're hoping that he just does it. Or with Kelly Oubre. Same thing will happen with him. Kelly Oubre is a guy that can get you 20 points a night. So is Tobias Harris. They should be a little bit more involved in the offense, right? Not saying they ain't going to score 20, but, I don't need Embiid getting 35, Maxey getting 28, and then these guys getting 10. You know what I mean? Get them somewhere between 17 points, man. 15. One can average 15, one can average 17, something like that. It'll make out better for you in the long run, because in the playoffs you'll be a tougher team to defend, right? Teams won't just see, okay, I key in on Embiid and double him, and then put my best wing defender on Maxey and then kind of stymie them, right? 'Cause that's what you run the risk of happening. Whereas if you have the system worked out where everybody's spreading the ball more, a la the old San Antonio Spurs under Tim Duncan and Popovich, that team was so hard to stop, man, because there was always ball movement. So the one thing I'm looking for to improve is the assist numbers, right? Sometimes we just too much just dumping it into Embiid, and I get it. There's going to be nights when Embiid is hot. He's going up against a Gobert. He's going up against a Cat Towns, and he's out there that I'm trying to embarrass this dude. I'm gonna get my 50. That's cool. There were times, Hakeem Olajuwon going up against David Robinson. Yeah, that's the marquee matchup. Let him go for it. I get that, those situations. There'll be times in a tough part of a series, and then this is what you do want. You're up against a Boston, and then things ain't going right or whatever, and he decides to take the team on his back. That's good. But what you can't have is a team that depends on your best player putting the team on the back, because then that's when you start getting into those funks as an offense, because they're just not used to getting the ball, not used to running sets, not used to cutting and all those different things. And alley-oops, not used to it. It's used to, all right, Maxey and B take us home, and then you start getting an offense that's standing around. That's what I don't want. So hopefully by the end of the season, we'll have this thing running like a well-oiled machine. All right, and sure, B can still get 30. Maxey can still get 26, but just spread it around, man. Spread the wealth around with more of these guys, man. That's probably my only critique of the team. Defense, I love it. I love it. Oh yeah, and then this is the thing. Because of that, Zach LaVine, trying to get him in a guy that needs his touches, that is going to want to score 25 points. You got to number one, make sure he buys in to what we're doing. I'm sure he might buy into being second fiddle to Embiid, but is he going to buy in being third fiddle to Maxey? And then do you want to, like, if you make Embiid second fiddle, you make LaVine second fiddle, do you expect Maxey to just take a step back now? You know, after all he's done, as hard as this kid works, this kid's still looking for that big contract, which you'll get. What are you doing? And then you run the risk of having bad chemistry, and then LaVine, how many guys are you going to give up to get him? Are you going to give up Tobias? Are you going to give up Oubre? Are you going to give up both of them? To me, I'm not giving up Tobias and Oubre, what they mean to the offense, to add Zach LaVine. Right? If Zach LaVine was all that, trust me, Chicago would be better than they are. This guy would at least get them to playoffs and further than he's getting them. He's not what some of y'all think, man. He's not what some of y'all think. He's just a guy that just wants to shoot. I'm just not in love with his game. He has some talent. I'm not in love with his game, and I don't think it would be the best fit for this team. I think you need, next to Maxey, a guy like OG Anunoby, 6'7", wing defender, a guy that I could put on a Tatum, a guy that I could put on a Jaylen Brown, a guy that can get his own shot and get to the rim. That's going to give me elite defense. That's going to give me some rebounding, right? It's going to give me some hustle, that knows Nick Nurse's offense that's not going to need to score a lot, right? That's the type of guy you need. Or Alex Caruso would be a second one that I wouldn't mind, but OG Anunoby will come first for me. Now, what's next for the team, man? I think the Sixers, man, we're about to enter another tough strand here. I think we're about to do one of those 5 games in 8 nights type of thing. Let's see here. Pardon me, y'all. Okay, so our next game is the Miami Heat Monday. That's a good one. That's a good test. A team that traditionally we have had issues with. And is that in Miami? Yeah, in Miami, you never know with that one, right? And then we got Orlando. Oh, this is a nice little challenging stretch. You got Miami coming up, got Orlando coming up, got the Rockets coming up. You had the Bulls coming up, who we need get revenge on them. So that's a tough little. That's the first, or one of the first tough little road stretches. It's always tough to play in Miami, man. Miami is a team I think we match up well with this time, especially with the wing players we got, the 3-point shooting we got, and everything. The defense we got, which you hope travels. But Miami is always tough, especially in Miami, right? So we'll see what happens with that game. Then we got Orlando. Orlando's playing really well this year. Them guys are balling. I like that. That young kid, Moncaro. I like some of the other pieces they got. Fonz, Wagner. They play some good ball out there, man. And happy to see that organization turning around. I don't know what's up with Markelle Fultz. I don't know. I think he might be playing some of them games with them that he was playing with us here. Who else we got, man? The Houston Rockets coming up. Houston Rockets are playing a little better ball. Ime Udoka got them playing. I don't know how serious they are as a contender. I know at one time they were doing some things, but I think they may have fallen off a little bit. What's happening with the Houston Rockets, man? Before I start running my mouth about something I don't even know nothing about. Oh, they 8th in the West right now. Okay, so you can't, you can't sleep on them. The 8th in the West. All right, and then the Bulls, who we got to get for revenge. We play the Bulls twice, it looks like. So that's in Chicago, right? So you can't sleep on that. So Sixers, man, they need to put together a nice little run there. These next 4 are not sweet, you know. You got the Knicks after that. That ain't sweet. None of these are gimmies, man. The Jazz at here should be able to take care of them. The Hawks are always going to fight you. And then you got the Kings and the Rockets again, and then the Nuggets, January 16th, man. That's the one everyone's looking for. The matchup between Embiid and Jokic, man. So we'll see what happens with this team, man. I think it's the most complete team since the '83 Sixers, like I said. And we'll see how it goes, man. Hopefully everybody can stay healthy. Hopefully we don't do anything stupid with any trades, man. And I'll get with y'all next time. I'll probably do another report on the Sixers, man, after maybe after the Heat game. Who knows, man? We'll see. Got to partly see how this video does as well, you know. All right, so peace.